Hello, greetings to you, Northgate Church family. I'm Scott Pospichel, assistant pastor at Northgate Church. Well, this is Holy Week. Holy Week is the week leading up to Easter Sunday, which is this next Sunday. And what Pastor Matt and Ben and I are going to be doing in the next week is telling you what things happened in Jesus' life during Holy Week. And so today, on a Monday, the first day of Holy Week, right after the triumphant entry into Jerusalem, let's see what was happening in Jesus' life on Monday of Holy Week. In Mark chapter 11, verses 12 through 14, we read this. The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went out to find if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard him say it. So here we are. Jesus was spending the night in Bethany with his apostles, came back to Jerusalem and saw a fig tree, didn't find any fruit on it, and cursed it. And let's see then the next morning, by the way, as they went by that same tree, it says, verse 20, as they went along, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots. Peter remembered and said to Jesus, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered." So this is a very unusual story. Jesus sees a tree, expected to have fruit that he could eat. It doesn't, and he curses it, and it dies. Now, what's happening here? Is Jesus just being petty? Is he allowing himself to be frustrated over something unimportant? No, we know that's not in line with Jesus' character. I think Jesus did this in order to teach the apostles a spiritual lesson, and we'll see in a little bit what that lesson was. Let's see what happens next then after he curses the fig tree in Matthew 11. Verses 15 through 17, it says, on reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves, and would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. And as he taught them, he said, "Is it not written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations,' but you have made it a den of robbers." So when Jesus gets to the temple courts, he sees something that makes him angry, even outraged. Instead of focusing on praying to God and honoring God like the temple was meant to be, he saw instead merchants selling animals, and they were selling other things like wine and wood and oil that the people would then use to make animal sacrifices that week, because Passover was coming up. So Jesus was outraged that these people had the wrong priority. Instead of worshiping God and honoring him and praying to him in the temple, they were making money their top priority. And so that outraged Jesus. So the application to us today is simple. We need to make Jesus and honoring him and praying to him and the Father our top priority. During times of troubled times like we're in, it's easy to make other things our top priority. It's easy to make safety and making sure we have enough money and food and things like that our top priority. But no matter what, we're to make Jesus our top priority. Now there's something else interesting happening here before I end in Mark 11. This actually is something that literary people call a sandwich. You have the fig tree story first, then you have the temple story, and then right after that you have the rest of the fig tree story. It's called a literary sandwich. The temple story is sandwiched in between the fig tree stories. Why is this happening? It's because the stories explain each other. What is being said here is Jesus is concerned about the fruit of our heart. And when he doesn't find the fruit that should be there, like he didn't find fruit on that fig tree, it grieves him, it grieves the Holy Spirit, Ephesians 4:30, but it also makes him angry. And Jesus gets angry sometimes toward us because he loves us. He doesn't want us to be dabbling in wrong priorities that'll hurt our relationship with him. We need to do the same. When we sense in our heart that our priority is not to love Jesus and others, but other things, that should grieve us and it should make us angry. When we see that in each other, it should grieve us and make us angry. And that should spur us on then to pray for each other and to reach out in concern. Sometimes people have a hard time thinking Jesus is angry at us. but it's scriptural. He was angry with Peter in Matthew 16 and said, "Get behind me, Satan," because your concerns and priorities are not those of God. In Revelation 3, Jesus got angry at the church of Laodicea for not being a cool refreshment to others and not being a warm comfort to others, but lukewarm. And he said later, "I want to spit you out of my mouth." He was angry with the people and Christians at Laodicea, but that anger came out of a sense of love for them. Revelation 3:19. Let's be like Jesus. Let's be angry and grieved when we see wrong priorities in us and others. And during this time of trouble, no matter what, let's make honoring Jesus our top priority. May God bless you.